Hi there, this is part two of an AUT University assignment where I have been required to Google my own name, Justin Devereaux, and comment on the results that were returned on that search engine. And I wanted to add to that and talk about how I think those results got there on the internet, and and maybe how I feel about some of those postings. So looking at the results, I'd say 90% of them are generated because of news media organizations publishing some of my news stories, or from myself trying to promote my own work portfolio on my WordPress site. And then the remaining 10% is no doubt social media or third parties posting information about me, which is quite small by comparison, but that's no surprise to me because I haven't been much of a social media user. Facebook is the biggest platform that I use, or the most frequent site I've used as far as social media is concerned. But even that has been really minimal, and I've only really started to use it this year in 2014 as a tool for journalism. Prior to that, even if you're my friend on Facebook, you would be able to see that I wasn't a high user, and I didn't really post many comments. I would only use it to stay in touch with my friends overseas. And so Googling my name and connecting to that link on Facebook would bring up my photograph, who I work for, and where I lived, and that would be all you'd see because I'd set my privacy settings quite high. So in general, I don't think Facebook portrays me in any negative way. I've used it this year for crowdsourcing, trying to get opinions and perspectives from friends on certain topics, or joining community group pages and fishing for stories. And I've actually found several new stories this year by using that technique, and that were those stories were quite unique, and so it is a valuable tool. And and then the rest of the social media that I've used, that Foursquare is perhaps one of the only things I feel may present me in a negative way, because I'd posted one comment about some crazy hippies in a halfway house. Look out for these crazy hippies, and it's not that terrible, but it doesn't sort of reflect that great on who I am or my character, and I don't think it's true to who I am as a person. And so I have some reservations about Foursquare, but those were posts from over 2 years ago, and I haven't been using it since. But certainly there's a lesson there in any social media that I'm using moving forward, is to be careful about what I say, and in order not to offend people. And that's probably the only thing I've ever put on the internet which is potentially offensive, which is quite remarkable, and I guess I'm proud of that. But I must make sure that I don't post more comments like that. The other thing that I sort of don't enjoy about my presence on the internet is through links to Prezi presentations that I've prepared for my university papers, and because they're public and you can go right into those presentations and read all about them, I don't like that, because I think some of those presentations were designed to be just a supplement in the backdrop behind me, and most of the information came through my speeches. And if you are looking at those, I think that they're quite perhaps quickly put together, and they're not as good as they could be. And so if a potential employer was looking at me and then came across that, they may see, look at that and think, well, that's not very good, and because that it's out of context, and so I think I'm seriously considering removing myself from that platform, because especially because there's another Justin Devereaux that uses Prezi, and you can't distinguish between him and myself. So even if I did remove myself from Prezi, it concerns me that his work would probably stay there, and people could confuse him for me. And as a journalist, I think that's a negative consequence, and it's not a very good attribute of Prezi, in my opinion. Anyway, the newspaper's presence on the internet, no doubt, is great for my prospects as a journalist. So overall, I'm quite happy about the way I'm portrayed on the internet. I don't think there's anything too negative, and I've done some good news stories. I'm proud of many of them, and so as I build my digital identity and move forward and prepare to go into the work field and in journalism, I've become more aware of that image and how I present myself, and even posting videos such as this one here for a university, which is only designed for a university audience, or for my teachers. You can see a little bit about me, which you wouldn't see in a professional environment. You can see I've got a child. You can see I'm in clothing here that's that I'd wear around the home, and rather than dressing in a suit and or a business shirt and tie, I'm wearing my home clothes, and perhaps I look a bit scruffy today, and that could reflect badly on me if a potential employer ever came across this video. So you've got to bear those things in mind, because image is important. I think the statistics are 70 or 80% of the way that humans judge other people is based on appearance, and that's quite staggering, and it's a bit unfortunate in a sense that it doesn't pay more attention to your intrinsic qualities or your the skills of work that you do. But unfortunately, that is the way the world is, and you can't change it. So you do need to bear that in mind when you move forward and build your profiles and your digital identities. And so I've created a LinkedIn professional profile, which I see as great, because you can connect with people in the same industry that you work in, and keep up with the latest trends, and get some real perspectives from an international community as well as a domestic community. And so I can see great value in that. And you can, job prospects, of course, that's probably the primary reason for having the LinkedIn profile. I've also connected to other extended communities like freelance journalism and the Society of Professional Journalism. For the same reasons, you can keep up with trends and get to know people. There's job opportunities potentially. I'm also interested in advertising, so I've actually put that in my LinkedIn profile, and I've joined up with communities through advertising as well. Campaign Brief is an Australasian one that talks about who's who and what's happening in Australasia as far as advertising is concerned. So I guess that's really. To conclude, I guess, social media is great, but you do have to be careful how you use it, the things that you post, the way you present yourself, and even the topics that you choose to write about. As far as journalism is concerned, you want to remain neutral. You want that neutral perspective. I think it's important if you're going to be writing about news. And so you don't want to be, seen to be biased or swayed in any way. And so not just the way you look and what you talk about, but also the content, what you talk about is important. And I think that's really, in one sentence, social media is great, but be careful how you use it.